right, what's up? I'm here with Christoph from Dawn of Ashes. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you?
Good. So obviously, I saw you guys at Dark Forest Fest, and before that, I was like a casual fan. But after seeing your stage show, I'm like, holy shit, these guys kick ass.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So, what did you think of Dark Forest?
It was good. It was a lot of energy. There was a shitload of people. It was a good time. I felt like we kind of brought something different to that festival because I kind of saw a couple of the bands, but I think we kind of brought more of the metal side to that festival.
Definitely. And just for fun, here we go. I'm gonna pop this up. See, we were there. It happened.
What a great picture of me.
I look like shit, so it's fine.
Right.
All right, so you're described as like industrial and black metal with like symphonic elements. Would you say that's accurate?
Um, it's kind of hard to truly define what genre Dawn of Ashes falls under because I feel like we're heavily industrial and then we're heavily on the side of extreme metal.
Mm.
There's elements of black metal, hardcore. Um, so it's kind of hard. So I kind of just say right now I classify us as industrial extreme metal because black metal is just very,
Mm-hmm.
it's very tiny box of sound, and I feel like we have that in the music, but we're not a pure black metal group.
Yeah. So what band did you say are some of the biggest influences on your sound?
I would say Nine Inch Nails, Demon Borgir, Hatebreed, Bleeding Through. I would say Fear Factory too. There's a lot of, but I guess it depends on the album because each album has different inspirations.
Speaking of albums, so your new one, Reopening the Scars, just came out a couple weeks ago. How's reception for it so far? Do people like it?
Yeah, I haven't really read anything negative about it. I think what people like about it with the last, because it's a continuation from the last album,
Right.
is that it ties into mental struggles and depression and all those mental disorders. So I feel like a lot of people connect with it, which makes the music even better.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I think it's been doing pretty well so far.
I just had to comment. I love that you still start your albums with instrumental tracks. I feel like nowadays all anyone ever does is singles. So getting like a whole album that's like an experience is like just I love that.
Yeah, and I think that's what I like about a lot of the symphonic black metal groups is
Mm-hmm.
they have these like very epic orchestral introductions, and I've always liked that about the albums.
So, what made you decide to make the title track an instrumental piece instead of like one of the singles or something? I thought that was interesting.
It's kind of funny because I a long time ago I was doing work for trailers to movies and commercial use, and I actually wrote that for a trailer,
Mm-hmm.
and it never got used. And I was like, I just didn't want that song going to waste. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to use it on this album. And I felt like it was just such an epic introduction to the album. And so I felt it should have been named after the album just to kind of, kick it off.
Okay, that makes sense. I think my favorite track on the album was Tarnished Halo. Like the build on that song was insane. It had such a great like old school industrial vibe.
Yeah, and that was another trailer track I wrote. Majority of it, besides the industrial part.
Mm.
So I had that track, and then I used a lot of my modules, my Hero Rack modules, to write the industrial side. And and I just felt like it just fucking hits hard after like all that crazy trailer music stuff before.
Absolutely. It was like, oh, this is like epic. I love this. And it's like, boom. And I'm like, whoa, holy shit. Okay.
Right.
So how did you choose which songs off this album to be singles?
Well, we originally had 2 songs that were singles,
Mm.
and we were originally we were with Metropolis, and then we went with Artifact Records, and then Metropolis came along, wanted to buy us off of Artifact. And I already started writing the album for Reopening Scars, and I had 2 singles, and the 2 singles were already out. And part of the deal is that Artifact wanted to keep those 2 singles.
Mm-hmm.
So I already had the album all written out. But I heard Anadonia, which is the music video we're going to be releasing soon as well. And I just think that every time I heard it, I was like, man, this song's fucking just brutal. It needs to be a single. Like, it just hits so fucking hard. I was like, I feel like that's what fans wanted to hear. They just wanted to kick in the face. And yeah, I think that was the proper single.
Is that the only music video in the works? You doing more off from this album?
I mean, we have a lyric video coming out. We have the music video, which hasn't been released. I would like to do other music videos, but it's kind of difficult right now with me moving over to Europe.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So how'd your stage show develop?
So prior to Dawn of Ashes, I was in a lot of hardcore bands, extreme metal bands.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started Dawn of Ashes, I wanted to start a pure industrial black metal group. And I went to some goth industrial clubs, heard a couple of groups like Wumscott and Suicide Commando, and I started experimenting with writing that type of music. But in my mind, I still had the mentality from hardcore and metal. So I wanted to always bring that on stage. Which I feel like some industrial bands lack when they're on stage. It's not enough energy. But for me, that's been one of the most important parts about Dawn of Ashes is how much energy we put on stage. And it's no matter how tired, how beat up we are, that has to be 100%. So tie that in with the theatrics, because theatrics has always been kind of important to me. Kind of the bands I grew up listening to have always been very theatrical. And I'm a big fan of horror movies. I was doing horror special effects. So I just kind of wanted to just bring everything on stage what I would want to see from a band.
That makes sense. So I gotta ask about the blood gag. Is that like a blood pellet or something that just keeps producing in your freaking mouth? Like I didn't expect you to like huck massive mouthfuls of blood in the crowd. I'm like, holy shit.
That's a Dawn of Ashes secret.
Oh, okay. Well, it's very impressive and makes a good impact. They actually stained the carpet. I was back the next day. I'm like, holy shit, that stained the carpet. Wow.
Yeah, it's always been kind of a thing when we play certain venues. It was actually that venue where I was like, fuck, because usually it's a lot worse. It's just, I pour it everywhere. And we were in that, I guess it was a hotel ballroom at Dark Force.
Yeah.
And, I was like, fuck, I might get fined if I completely fuck this place up. So I'm like, I'm not going to risk it tonight. Usually I don't give a shit, but for some reason that night I was like, yeah, I didn't want to risk it.
Yeah, that's fair. Even though, it's big theatrical and stuff, I feel like all your stuff is very professionally done, and I appreciate that. I see a lot of bands that I don't know, just less professional about how they do things, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, for Dawn of Ashes being 23 years old and writing, I mean, I wrote, I don't even know how many albums that we're at now, like 14. There's been a lot of experimenting with both genres. So I know a lot of bands try to fuse together both genres, and I don't know. From my experience, I haven't really heard many bands that do it right, and
Yeah.
you really just kind of have to experiment it and keep messing with it over and over until you kind of perfect it.
Mm-hmm. If you could collaborate with anybody, who would you choose?
Has to be a single person, or can I pick two people?
Sure, you can pick two.
I would say Trent Reznor and Hans Zimmer. Those are the two people I would collaborate with.
I, for some reason, didn't expect Hans Zimmer, but I could totally see that.
Yeah, he's another one of my huge inspiration is Hans Zimmer. I love a lot of film scores.
Absolutely. Okay, so your new album's out. What's next for Dawn of Ashes? I know you said your music video, but like, what you're working towards?
Since I'm moving to Europe, I think we're going to be focusing a lot on performing in Europe. I mean, we've been doing a lot in America.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not to say, I mean, we've done some festivals out in Europe, but now that I'm going to be out there, I think that's the main focus. It's just performing, and I might take a break from writing from Dawn of Ashes for a little bit to kind of just kind of let this album, put all my time and effort into pushing this one album and touring for this album. But yeah, I mean, hopefully more music videos. I know we're about to release a shitload of merchandise. So
Sweet.
we're actually working on our merch store right now. That's what a lot of people have been complaining, that our merch has been down. So we're finally just gonna release a ton of different things.
Question over in the comments: what tuning do you guys usually play in?
Oof, that is a question for the guitarist, but I think our tunings, I think they're different for different songs, but I believe I want to say we're drop. I think we're drop A.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think majority of our songs are drop A.
So obviously you write the lyrics. How does like the rest of the songs come to be?
It's always different because I feel like with this album and the last album, I felt like what I was going through personally kind of dictated the writing. But every album's pretty different. Either I dictate the music, and then that dictates the lyrics, or the lyrics dictates the music. But it's usually by emotion. I mean, this album in particular and the last album were very dictated by what I was going through emotionally.
Kyler says, very nice. I love the chugging.
Yeah. I think that's all of our influence from hardcore and deathcore and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. If you were an animal, what kind would you be and why?
Huh. That's a random question.
Yes, it is.
I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe I'd be what's that? Maybe a shark.
That's a good one.
Great white shark, because they're scary as fuck.
I ask all my interviewees that question. They're usually takes them a minute. Yeah, shark. That's a good one.
I think it fits my personality.
Let's see. Anyone else in the comments got any questions? I All right, promote yourself. You know, where can people follow you? Where can they keep up to date? What's going on?
We're pretty much all over every social media platform:
Mm.
Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter. You can find us on Metropolis Records. That's our label. We're on Bandcamp. Our official website's going to be back up, so it's donabashesofficial.com. That's where you can buy all the merchandise, which is about to be released. But as far as streaming platforms, digital platforms, we're on basically everything.
What do you have like anything to say to any of your fans who watch this video?
Just that I appreciate the support. It's been, 23 years. There's been a lot of changes, and I appreciate the fans that stuck around through all the different changes that we've gone through. Some were more upset than others about
Mm.
the experimenting with genres. So it means a lot to me when fans kind of stick around.
My buddy William Zimmerman hit up Mooncoil Media. Anyway, he says, what prompted the shift to more of a black metal style on Theophany?
I think black metal has always been an influence with Dawn of Ashes, even during the dark electro days or whatever. Like I said before, when I first started DOA, we were originally going to be pure industrial black metal, and kind of the dark electro thing was kind of an unexpected genre that I was writing. So I kind of wanted to bring it back. I wanted to go kind of full force, but then we had a huge fan base on the dark electro side, and I don't know, I got heavily into synthesizers and Eurorack modules, and kind of wanted to bring it together.
All right. Kyler asks, will you ever put out tabs for your songs?
Possibly, maybe one day. I'm sure it's up there. Someone's probably done it on. I mean, everybody does. Puts up shit on the internet.
All right. Is there anything that we haven't talked about on here that you wanted to, push or talk about?
Or if you have questions.
I'm all out of questions. I think I've asked what I wanted to ask you. All right. Yeah. Yeah, unless you got anything else, man, I think we're good.
Okay. Yeah, if there's anything you want to ask more about the album, But if not, we're good.
Yeah, I'm so bad at ending these things. I try.
It happens.
Yeah. Huh?
Anyways, I appreciate it, and
thank you so much for coming on. I didn't expect you to agree to come on. I'm like, holy shit, no way, really?
Yeah, it's not a problem.
All right, thank you very much.
Yeah, of course. Take care. All right.
Yeah.